All right. I want to watch this video. I've been wanting to watch this video. These middle grounds, man, they get me heated sometimes, but I've been meaning to watch this video, so we gonna
As a real estate guy, I can make millions of dollars and use the exact same tax loopholes that a Donald Trump would use and pay effectively no tax. And does that make me a bad guy, or did I just study the tax code?
It makes you a bad guy, yeah.
Okay, dude. Woo! All right. New intro? Okay, I see y'all.
Step forward if you agree. Being poor is a choice.
Yikes. Interesting.
I do not want to be disingenuous to ignore systemic issues that we all experience, but I feel like it's 2021 and there's a lot of free resources. I mean, Facebook has a lot of free courses. I think that poor is also a mindset.
I agree. Originally, when I came out here, I started straight at the homeless shelter. I had to flee from domestic violence from my family. Most people in general don't choose to be poor, but since I've been here, specifically in LA, a lot of people outside, they don't want to come into the shelter because they'd rather be in the tents.
I mean, I grew up poor, so
that's different,
I have been
though.
on both sides of the coin, and I can reflect and look back on some of the lifestyle choices that I was making, some of the people that I was hanging around. So I don't think that people can initially control if they're born into poverty, but I think that there is a certain level of control that comes along with it.
I think there's a certain level of control. Sure, you can definitely get to a point where you're comfortable. That's possible. But to be rich, that's not, if everyone could be rich, everyone would do it. You know what I mean? It's just, it's not a choice to be, you know, poor. It's just that sometimes that's just how life is. And, you know, not everyone gets that chance. I mean, for all I know, I could always be, you know, where I'm at. You know, yeah, of course I want to be successful, but that's not always, that's not, you know, I can try my best, I can do everything in my power, but sometimes it's just, things just don't go the way you want it to. That's just how life works, bro.
Being able to have that determination and that resilience,
Can I have the disagreeer step forward?
All right, I'm excited to hear this.
We need to realize that these people are on the street not because of their own choosing, but because of the system that we live in perpetuates these things.
If I could
That's
speak
not
to that,
true.
I come from a family that once relied on
I'm gonna say
welfare.
something that is not true. I think it's possible to get off the street. Definitely. I think that, like, not like people see, the thing is, the question was, and they're taking a lot of them, like the more the poor side, they're saying, they're like taking it as like a, oh, to get off the streets and to stop being homeless and all that. That's not, like, that is poor, but that's not the only type of poor there is. There's poor of being in a not so good house, being in like low income housing, and barely making rent every month, living check to check. That's poor, in my opinion. You know, that's not rich. That's not living comfortably. You're barely surviving. And so, yeah, you can get off the streets, sure, but like you're probably still gonna be in that like lower percent of like money making, you know?
And food stamps. And I've been blessed enough to make millions of dollars in real estate. But had I bought real estate from 2005 to 2008, I'd probably be bankrupt today. I just bought it at the right time.
People wish to be rich, they don't want to be rich. The difference is, do you take action? That being said, I agree with a lot of your points you're making about people not really having the resources or the opportunity to have any kind of action plan.
Some people don't even want to be rich. Like, I don't want to be rich. Like, but I also don't want to be poor. I'm happy in the middle. And I would want to live in a society where they could perpetuate people to lift themselves out of poverty through programs and just be in the middle.
Billionaires
I don't know
should
about
not
that.
exist.
Yikes. Okay.
I don't see how anyone could ever spend $1 billion. It's not a necessity to have that much money, and I feel like there is a certain cap in which, like, you can completely survive and thrive with this amount of money, and then if you surpass that, you're just hoarding.
And then we've seen what people with billions of dollars are doing with their money. They're going to space for fun. Like,
Right.
clearly
I don't agree with that at all. I think billionaires should exist. I think just because you have billions of dollars, like just because you can, what else should I say? You can't cap the amount of money somebody makes. If they can make that much money legitimately and they can, it's fair game, like you could make that much money, you know what I mean? Like you shouldn't cap that. For what? Just so we can give the money to people that don't really give a fuck? So we can just give away the money to everybody else that doesn't want to make that money? You're the one who said you want to live comfortably, yet you don't want other people to live with that money that you don't want. You know what I mean? I don't know. Seems a little contradictory.
If we tax those people properly, get their wealth, and distribute it to people who need it, that'd be a much better use than going to space for fun.
Thing is, usually,
personally, I don't think there's an issues with billionaires.
Usually, the people that take that money then don't work. They don't work. They don't have a reason to. That makes no sense. You're trying to create a society where there's no limit. There's no. You just what? If we just take all the money that's the people that actually work and do important jobs and make that much money, like doctors and lawyers, and we take the money and distribute it to people that don't work like that, don't work at all, don't want to get a job, and then just get the money for free so they could live, comfortably, no one would work. No one would. I don't know.
There's existing.
Make no sense.
The issue for me is that they need to be held accountable the same way poor people do, and I'm talking about.
Oh, you're talking about
system.
Okay.
When you look at a lot of billionaires who have gotten that way because of the just incredible amount of value they've given to society. I won't even talk about a huge, crazy billionaire.
Yeah.
I'll talk about Jay-Z, who's a billionaire. He made amazing music. That's how he became a billionaire. And so I don't think it's the government's job to interject and say, okay, you have too much, we need to give it away. I mean, it would also never happen in any other arena. No one's gonna go, hey, Simone Biles, you have too many gold medals. We're gonna take them from you and we're gonna give them to the other people who
Exactly.
I completely agree.
I completely disagree. I feel like that is the government's job.
What? What? So if somebody is better than everyone else at something and they have like 20 gold medals, and the people that are not good at that and not trying hard enough have 2 gold medals, they should have 3 or 4 more gold medals to make it even and fair. What type of society? Dude, what type of society does this guy want to live in, bro?
Like you said, Jay-Z made his money from music. That's his labor. He's a musician. He's selling his talent. But then when he invested in the alcohol, then he's using other people who are harvesting the wheat, the agave. They're breaking their back. They're using their labor.
So do you think that you shouldn't invest in those people? Should they just say, the hell with your dreams, I'm not going to invest in you?
I'm saying.
What about the jobs?
Exactly.
They're having jobs.
Yeah, but how much are they getting paid for the jobs? Or those jobs in the third world where they're getting paid pennies, and then Jay-Z makes millions off their labor.
How much do you pay your employees?
Bro, they're getting paid because Jay-Z invested into them. That's the only reason they make any money. Then when that job makes more money because he invested, he gets a percentage back for investing in that without investments, then we wouldn't have anything. Dude, this guy makes no fucking sense.
Harvesting isn't going to exist if Jay-Z doesn't invest?
If I may interject, I pay my employees like incredibly well, and I let them choose their own hours. Someone who works for me is a single mother. I pay her $50 an hour. And I think that people that are providing jobs and opportunities, you can hate on them all you want, but at the end of the day, like, nobody would work that job if it wasn't in some way, shape, or form worth it.
People who make $1 billion get a fraction of the value they create. Everybody here who has a business understands that. Even Jay-Z only gets 15 cents a record he sells. Okay?
Yes, that's because he got exploited by the record label who's using his label to make money.
You keep using this word exploiting like you understand the record business, of which I am in, okay? Record labels back hundreds of artists. Do you know how many go busto? Yeah. Okay? They're taking risk in an artist by the tapes, paying the engineers, marketing, etc. They're exploiting them. They're taking on a bet. Yeah. And they can't just give everybody 50-50. They'll go bankrupt. You don't understand the record business, and you're just yelling out these words exploiting like you know what you're talking about, but you don't.
That's why
they're not exploiting.
That's why there's one Jay-Z and not millions
Exactly.
of them.
I
Exactly.
actually want to ask a question.
And that's why that one Jay-Z's making billions of dollars. Like, this kid, dude, he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Define exploited and why you're saying that.
I'm using exploited in the Marxian term where your labor creates value and then your employer takes that value and distributes it unevenly to themselves and then leaves the rest for the workers. That's exploitation.
That's not exploitation because they make that decision from the very beginning of like, how much do I make? How much do you want to make? This percentage? Okay, fine. That's fair. Let's sign a contract. Let's agree that this is fair. If they were exploiting, they would be lying to them and then giving them shit for nothing. If the record label was exploiting Jay-Z, he wouldn't be a billionaire. He would be like living in a shithole. Like, bro, what?
My name is David. I work for Disney in the entertainment character department, and I make around $33,000 a year.
How's your experience been working at Disneyland?
My experience working at Disneyland is very mixed. The workers themselves, like my coworkers, are amazing people. Unfortunately, the company is not so great. They don't pay us that much. They have enough money to pay us more. I think they should just pay us more, but I don't think they're gonna do that. That's why I'm advocating for a union to bargain in our favor.
My name is Ginny, and I run a software design agency. And this year, I'm going to be taking home about $400,000. When I started my business, that was like all-consuming for me. Everything I did in my life was for business, and so I think my partner felt a lot of neglect. I did though. And so a lot of our arguments, a lot of the times that we had issues were because of my absence.
The economy is rigged.
That course is a motherfucker.
If you're born in a rich family, you have more opportunities. And as someone who is poor,
Disneyland
living
guy,
paycheck to
dude.
paycheck, you're stuck having to apply to jobs and settle for things that you don't like instead of being able to follow your passions.
I agree and disagree. I agree that it's rigged to incentivize certain areas and behaviors, like we have millions and millions of farm subsidies, so it supports agribusiness. It may support one area like real estate or capital investment over labor, but I don't think it's generally rigged to basically keep the rich guy rich and the poor guy poor. That's where I'll disagree. But there are certain policies like the reinvestment in productive people's hands for building real estate. I would say that's a good thing, right?
When you say productive people, like, do you just mean people with money?
No, I mean people that actually take that money, organize people, put it to work, and create value. See, that's what I mean by productive.
And this is the thing, when there's a middle ground where there's a two opposing sides, complete opposites. The lower end side, for example, the poor versus the rich, right? It's always like a battle. It's always like I'm defense mode. Oh, by productive people, are you talking about the rich? Bro, what? Like, it's like he's trying to start a fight. It's like he's trying to argue. Like, bro, relax. By productive people, he means productive people. It's like Disneyland guy needs to chill the fuck out.
People.
But who creates the value? It's the workers who create the value.
Listen, there's people who take risk and they risk their money. That's creating value. What you discount is the person willing to risk their savings, okay, and provide capital for that venture and to be paid last. So if it goes busto, the worker still gets paid, the investor doesn't. If it goes well, the worker gets paid and the investor makes money. You discount the role of capital and savings in any type of venture.
Yeah.
Like my mom didn't want to be rich. She wanted to be a school teacher and work and do that and live in the middle ground, and that's fine. But there are people like me who want to take a lot of risk and get a lot of reward. And we put that capital to work. And you should respect that.
Exactly.
Hi, my name is Bill Perkins. I run a hedge fund. I do investments and other things. I manage my own money. How much I make annually? Sometimes I lose money, but I'd say on average over $10 million a year. I took care of my dad in the last years of his life.
Yeah, he's rich.
He died broke. I did not inherit my money. I made it myself. I really don't care about the money. Money is a tool for me to have the experiences that I want to have out of life. And there are many experiences that I want to have.
you have to have a certain.
This guy just wants to be right. He's not here to talk. Yeah. And that's the worst fucking mindset to have when you go into an argument or a debate of any sort, any kind. He's that person that I would ignore and I would disregard, because clearly he's not here to listen to me, so why should I listen to him? And that's exactly like the vibe he gives off. The only parts he listens and agrees with are the parts that he finds right. When you're in a debate, you listen to both sides. You listen to the side that is opposing to you as well as the side you are on. That is how a debate should work. And then you make your comment afterwards, after listening.
To know the rules of the game. And I think that there are barriers.
And you should you should take into consideration when you are wrong. If you're wrong, you're wrong. And you should just understand that and be okay with that. Trust me, I've been in debates and arguments where I was wrong and I fucking felt like an idiot. But, that's just life. You're not always going to be right. And that's just where this guy thinks he's at. He's in that, like, always right
awareness and knowledge
mindset.
To know the rules of the game. And I think that there are barriers put in place to kind of prevent people from knowing the rules, but I think that it's out there and you can have access to it, and it's, I think that knowing the rules is different.
I know the rules and I think they're disgusting. That's why I want to change them.
Why don't you play the game then? I mean, you can
I think they're disgusting. Why would I want to play the game?
As a real estate guy, I can make millions of dollars and use the exact same.
I'm sorry, but I want to hear him tell me the rules. What's disgusting about it, huh? Disneyland guy?
Tax loopholes that a Donald Trump would use and pay effectively no tax. And does that make me a bad guy, or did I just study the tax code?
It makes you a bad guy, yeah.
You think so?
If you do that, yeah.
I'm following the law to a T.
The law is wrong, yeah.
Why is it wrong? It's a law.
I'm not.
You think just because it's law, it's always right?
No, certainly not.
No, I'm not saying
but
that.
That's my point.
No, the law is written to encourage investment, is which they want. So he's investing. So the law is written to encourage certain things. If you disagree with it, you can go lobby and change. But he's not a bad guy.
I know you mentioned that there are barriers in place that do keep people kind of in impoverished conditions, but I don't think that we all acknowledge like the mental.
Well, that's where I was going. So if I can reflect on myself, I mean, I remember when I was living in poverty, I was just trying to survive. So I didn't even have the brain capacity to try or the willpower to kind of even desire to access the rules of the economy.
Yeah,
but I mean, I
exactly.
Had an epiphany, and I literally woke up one day and I was like, I cannot live the rest of my life like this, and I don't care if people call me lame, square, they're gonna question my blackness. I mean, I don't care. I'm getting out.
You know what? That's a huge thing, and I fucking hate it. And that's there's, for me as a mixed person, there's racism for me on both sides of the spectrum. Black people are very racist, and then white people are very racist. And that's a huge thing in the black community, where it's like, if you try to be productive and be normal and do things that is outside of your realm, you're instantly, oh, you're acting white, you're acting like this, oh, you're too square, oh, you're not cool anymore, you're fucking lame. And for me, it's like, oh, you're not black enough, you're that. Dude, that's so fucking stupid. And it's like you're stereotyping yourself. You're putting yourself in this category of people that you fight so hard not to be in. You know what I mean? I get it. I've lived in that, and I fucking hate it. Like, people should just be able to be people. If you want to live and you want to be successful and productive, you should have that choice too, without being judged for it or being told that you're not cool, or you're not the same anymore.
Speaking about blackness, do you think there's a correlation between people from the African diaspora and people of color and poverty? You don't think there's like a relationship there?
It's true that, I belong to a community that makes less than certain other communities. That's true. Significantly less. But you can't look at differences between groups and say it's only because of systems. Systems played a huge deal to it. I'm not discounting that at all. Like, it's a real big deal, and we're working to change that. But also, I mean, statistically, like, people from my old neighborhood and people, around in these communities, they spend about 50% more on shoes than people who are not in those neighborhoods. And it's like, man, that...
Well, not only that, Todd, but I think I looked up a recent statistic that said that Asian households, their children tend to study 13 to 15 hours a week, where in a Black household, it's like 3 hours a week.
Yeah.
I know you said it's not like a race issue, but when you think about the way that we got here as like African people, it was a race issue. We didn't have a chance to discover America like the other people did. So I feel like how you had mentioned that Asian Americans, they study more than Black households. You don't feel like those communities are kind of socialized in their upbringing to be more inclined to
and
care
that's what
about
they're
their finances,
saying,
as opposed to like African Americans, we would rather look rich than actually be rich.
that's what he's saying though, and I think that's a huge problem, and that's kind of what I was saying, where we grow like the Black community is I would say is very in, like, not even just the Black community, but I'm just saying that because that's the only community I grew up with, right? But we're stuck in this like not a hole, but like this like way of life, this like type of living, and it's like that plays a big part in the way we grow up, and you know, like being poor, being rich, that does play a huge part. Spending your money and learning a certain way of living, growing up, spending your money on certain things, like that plays a huge part in it. And the same thing with like schooling, you know, like it's exactly the same way, and you can't sit there and blame the rich for that, you know.
I think that's a part of like our community.
It's a culture. It's a choice.
Well, it's a culture.
Yeah.
I don't.
To a certain extent.
Okay, Disneyland, shut the fuck up. It's not a choice. You didn't say shit this whole time, bro. Shut the fuck up. Hate this guy, man.
I think it's a choice. I do think it's a choice. I'm not gonna say it's not a choice, but I'm saying, do you feel like some people don't have the same choices as other people's in different communities?
I think some people don't have the mental capacity to allocate the energy to learn the rules of the game, quote unquote, because their instincts are kicking in to just survive.
I think trauma plays a heavier role than we like to account for. Trauma is the reason why I'm here. I come from a family, a heavily cult Islamic family, and the things that I was doing in my life they didn't agree with. They pretty much sent people to my house to kill me. I was set up multiple times. They hacked my social media pages, both my iPhones, you know what I mean? So I don't want to just kind of ignore trauma as if it doesn't really matter in terms of what you are capable of doing, because people that are traumatized and people that do deal with a lot of oppression tend to get some of their choices removed.
I can acknowledge that, yes.
I'm sorry, but like as a person with trauma, that doesn't, unless you are literally disabled by your trauma, where you cannot function like a, you know, like a normal person in society, and you can't get a job and you can't work like everybody else, you shouldn't sit there and blame your trauma for being, you know, where you're at in life. There's so many people that live with trauma or live with disabilities that make it in life and do things, like they just gotta work harder for it, you know. I mean, there is definitely trauma that does affect that part of life, but you can still work, you can still push through it. There's gonna be a lot of difficulties, there's gonna be a lot of hurdles, but you know. My name is Hanifa. I'm an author, and I'm currently homeless, so I don't make any money right now. I grew up Muslim my entire life, and in Islam, it is permissible to marry your cousin. So my family enforced sexual acts in between cousins. It led to me having to flee my hometown and come all the way to California, which is 2,600 miles away, just so that I can avoid being killed.
I've worried where my next meal will come from.
Ah, interesting.
Me and my partner right now are applying for EBT because we are just like living check to check right now. Shut the fuck up! I hate this Disneyland guy, dude. Yo, EBT, bro. Like, bro, shut the fuck. I hate this guy so much. And I'm supporting both of us because she just lost her job. We are like literally trying to get help from the government so that we can know that we have the funds to get groceries. It's so hard, and it feels like it's not as accessible as people make it seem.
To have everything stripped away from you and to not know where you're gonna sleep, it's just very difficult. You know, it almost feels like a past life of having like everything. You know, I had bags. I had to take my little Michael Kors back to the pawn shop, take every item of clothing that I had to Plato's Closet so that I could buy a one-way ticket for myself and my child. I didn't know what we were gonna eat. I didn't know where we were gonna sleep. And not to be a victim, but it's not my fault why I'm here, you know? It's because
Yeah.
I speak out against cult behavior. I speak out against pedophilia. And publishing my story the domino effect of that has led me to not knowing where I'm going to eat. And I've never had that happen to me before prior to 4 months ago.
And with her situation, I think it's definitely not her fault that she's here, but I think she can make a change, and I think she has a huge future with her. I mean, you know, she's so strong already. She can definitely make it. And yeah, it definitely sucks just hearing her story and hearing how she got here, but you know, I think she can definitely make a comeback, and she can be rich. She can be out of this situation that she's in. It's just, you know.
And that's just really tough.
Thank you for sharing your story. That's really powerful. And yeah, like if you need help, like after this, let's just talk. That pulls on my heartstrings because my mother raised us 3 kids by herself, and my father was a wife beater. He was also a child molester. So anyone listening can connect the dots on that. I feel for you.
I almost want to jump out because there's only a short period of time, you know, and just that short period of time when you're busted or whatever, and you're just like whatever. But you guys were like in the real thick of it. You guys were in the trenches. I visited the trenches for like a couple months.
You had a toe.
I had a toe in the trenches, you know?
So I'm getting paid paycheck to paycheck, and on top of that, I have a crippling gambling addiction. I'm addicted to weed. I'm addicted to alcohol. I'm addicted to vaping. And as soon as I have that direct deposit, it's like I have no control. Almost like I black out and I start gambling, start ordering drinks, start ordering weed, and then I come out of that no control feeling, and I'm like,
I think I figured out why they haven't really talked this whole time.
Thinking, how am I gonna feed my pets this week, my cat, my dog? Like I had all these plans up to my payday. Before I know it, all my money's gone, and it's addiction.
When you're in a position when you don't have a lot of money,
I wonder
you
if
can't do a lot of
she's
things
getting
for
help.
fun, and you're often just like working. I have to survive. I have to feed myself. And so when you get that paycheck and you have just a little bit of enough money to do something that will spark joy for you, it's so hard to be like, no, I'll put it aside to save. It's like, I'll just do this one thing for myself. I'll just treat myself. And then it's like, well, now it's gone.
I completely understand what you're saying, and I used to think like that too, but I also thought about how joyful it would be to be rich. I would rather not have that instant gratification, because the gratification of being infinitely stable or more stable is more important. My name is Brittany. I am a holistic health practitioner, and I make around $130,000 a year. My relationship with my brother has literally crumbled since I have acquired more money. He only calls me when he needs something. The only person that I really have a relationship is my mom. I haven't spoken to my brother. I want them to be happy and successful more than anything, but it almost feels dehumanizing to be looked at as just the help and not a sister or a cousin or something like that. Yeah.
My name is Mia, and I'm currently working as a customer service representative for a moving and storage company. I make $45K a year. My family has always been like, oh, you gotta look presentable, you gotta look nice whenever we're going out to eat or to the mall. But as an adult, a lot of my money isn't going towards buying new clothes or jewelry, makeup, whatever it might be. So you'll catch me in like sweats and a t-shirt, and I just don't feel presentable enough to be at the mall, to be at a restaurant, because of that embarrassing feeling and shame of not investing more in how I present myself.
But you can pay cheap and look good. You know what I mean? Like, you can do that. Like, you can pay, like, bro, Walmart got some good clothes. I'm just saying, like, as a yeah, hey, not sponsored, but Walmart got some fire clothes, bro. Like, this shit, bro. This shit, Walmart. I kid you not, bro. And it's clean as fuck. And it's nice. And it feels good. The quality is good. Not sponsored, though. But Walmart,
You're just hanging out back there.
You know, I feel like I misunderstood the prompt.
So have you ever worried about where your next meal was going to come from?
Just
Ever?
once.
Oh, no, I definitely have. Like when I was in college, I was trying to buy groceries and the lady behind me ended up paying groceries for me, and it's so embarrassing because my card got maxed out and I had no money in the bank account basically.
$15 an hour is not enough for minimum wage.
Hey, yo. Yeah, maybe in fucking LA. Dude, the minimum wage out here is 12. That sounds fucking nice. What?
I did have a question for you two. You both mentioned that you suffer from addiction and that as soon as you get a paycheck, it's gone, whether it's gambling or weed or shopping or whatever. If you had a higher income, would that change?
Personally, yes, because the whole reason I gamble is like, let me get that $60,000 win and I'll stop gambling. That's my mindset, right? And another thing is I feel like if I were to have like passive income, I guess you can say, or be financially stable, I can pursue and distract myself with my actual passions. Like I want to start a true crime YouTube channel, but I don't have the laptop, I don't have the camera. The addiction takes control, so I don't think about the things I don't have, and I just feel...
I'm sorry. I'm not discrediting... Discrediting? That's not the word. What's the word? Like, I'm not saying addiction's not real. Like, addiction is a terrible thing, and it does affect a lot of people, and it's not something you can just say, oh, I'm done. But like the thing she's saying, it's like you can start true crime on your phone. Like you have a phone, right? I know she has a phone. You can start doing stuff on your phone, TikTok, Instagram, Reels, YouTube Shorts. Like you can make, there's editing software on your phone. There's a camera on your phone. You can do that. It may not be up to like fucking high quality, but you can do that. You don't need like a camera, a laptop, whatever. You don't need all of that. So I think it's just like, this is just like a like it's the addiction, and that's the problem. And that, like, if there was more money, it probably would go into the addiction. What needs to happen is she needs to get help for addiction, and so that 45 grand she's making a year can go into things that'll invest into her future, which she can make more money from. You know what I mean? That's what really needs to happen.
Numb and thoughtless, and I'm just enjoying my TV, and so yeah, I feel like it would change. I would be able to have other distractions that are beneficial.
I just don't agree.
In a positive way.
If you had more money, you could probably have access to help, like medical help.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, psychiatrists, because that's really expensive, and you can't afford it living.
But don't they have like they have like governmental assistance, like rehab centers and stuff like that to get help. Like you don't need to have like a high-end psychiatrist, right? Like I'm pretty sure. I mean, maybe it's different in LA. But like out here, they have a lot of help for people that can't afford it. There's a lot of opportunities.
You know,
I feel like a lot of jobs will pay minimum wage, but they will expect maximum effort. And I'm like, if you're gonna pay me minimum wage,
true.
I'm putting in the bare minimum effort.
I've always looked at it the opposite way. Like if I go into a company and they're paying me minimum wage, I do everything that I can to get promoted. Hi, my name is Todd.
That's a good way to look at it too.
I'm 29 years old. I am a real estate investor and YouTuber, and I make about $1.4 million per year. When you grow up the way I did with no money and your mom is struggling and crying herself to sleep every night because you can't pay the bills, that takes a toll on you as a kid and seeing that struggle. I got my first job when I was 12 years old, literally shoveling horse poop for $3 an hour. And I looked at myself when I was 12 years old and I was like, you've got to make $1 million a year by the time you're 30.
My name is Sean. I'm 23 years old. I'm a musician and content creator, and I make minimum wage at a retail job. If I wasn't having to work every day to pay my rent, then I would have more time to make music and connect with people and find venues to perform my music. And if I had the money, I would be able to market and promote my music so that it could reach a wider audience.
For me, my mindset is working minimum wage.
I just want to say something about his music. I definitely could be wrong about this, but I don't think you really need money to get it out there. That helps. But why can't he just like walk up to a studio and just start promoting his music to different studios? Email them, send emails to a bunch of record labels. Look, this is my music. This is my music. Listen to it. Let me know what you think, and maybe you might hear back from one. If you don't, you don't. Better your music and then try it again. Why not? I doubt he even does that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I could be wrong. He probably does, but he could probably just push. You know what I'm saying?
For me, my
talk to the guy here.
Working minimum wage is always
he works
temporary.
in the record label business.
It's always been like, okay, we work minimum wage, but we're gonna work harder to get promoted, and then we're gonna do something else with our lives.
Many, many, many years ago, you could go live off the land. You didn't have to work for somebody in order to survive. All the land is taken. It's in federal land. You can't go fishing in these federal streams. You can't do that. So that's not possible at scale. In order to survive, you must work for someone else. That forces wages down, right? People can't just go, F you, I'm not gonna work, I'm gonna chill and work on my novel or do whatever. So that's the part where I agree with you. I'm a supporter of UBI so that people aren't forced to work. Now where I disagree is that we don't pay people based on what they need. And you were kind of pointing to this. I give the minimum effort if you pay me minimum wage. But there's certain jobs that are not worth $15 an hour. They're just frankly not worth it. Maybe they're worth $5, maybe they're worth $2. I want you to watch TV for an hour in your house and tell me how many commercials come up, because I'm doing a survey. I want to pay you $7 an hour. You think I should have to pay you $15 an hour for that? Or would you take $7 an hour to sit on your couch and count commercials?
That's true.
I mean, yeah, I would take any money.
Okay, so everybody here agreed that it should be $15 an hour minimum wage.
Yeah.
But by making the wage $15 an hour, you just eliminated a job that he's willing to do.
More money, more problems.
More money, more problems.
More money, more problems, but that's a path that I'm willing to take on, because the problems that come along with not having money, I can't imagine going back there. I made it.
I think there's always
problems
in everywhere
position
of life.
myself adjacent to people who I felt like I could learn from. I remember parking my little Chevy Cruze up off of Griffith Observatory in Hollywood Hills just to be around money.
You guys mind if I start?
Yeah, please.
A lot of the problems in my life would be solved with just, not even if I was rich, but just like a little bit more money. I would just have so much less stress and less things to worry about, and I wouldn't be finding myself in these situations where I'm worried about, how am I going to pay rent? How am I going to get gas to drive? How am I going to eat?
More money, like more social responsibility, right? Going back to.
What does that mean?
Like, if you're a billionaire, then you have social responsibility to take care of people who might have less than you.
Really? I'm not seeing that in modern day life.
Ah, Pepe Payne, dude. Yeah, I like him too. I like his style.
Billionaire beef. You got a billionaire
modern day
beef.
life, what are billionaires doing?
I want to add real quick to what you were saying, that I had my first felony when I was 14 years old. I had gotten a DUI in 2018, so I was still going in and out of courthouses. I'm struggling trying to get a job, applying, getting interviews, getting a job offer, background check, offer rescinded, and that hurts a lot. But I'm over here watching The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and Yolanda Hadid's daughter just so happens to also get a DUI, but she's taking off in her modeling career like it was just a hiccup. I'm also seeing cases of affluenza where this kid driving his dad's truck drunk killed someone, and he gets off for affluenza, which means you're too rich to know what's good or bad, so you don't get any repercussions.
I've never.
Yeah,
So
it was
to
in
me,
Hollywood too.
I agree with my punishments. I messed up, and I will accept it.
He is so smug and annoying. I fucking hate this guy, dude. The Disneyland guy can literally F off.
To be fair treatment.
Exactly, because when I see that, it's just slap in the face. Like, what is the justice system? That's not justice.
Listen, I like the song "More Money, More Problems."
I like it too.
It's a jam,
I love
but it's really more money, different problems.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Okay.
We did it.
More money, different problems.
That's a wrap.
What do you code it?
Oh, we don't
Is it
code.
Python?
No, we don't code software.
Well, that video was dog shit. I agree with the rich people. I think they had a more general understanding of money and how different it is from being poor. I mean, not everyone starts out rich. I don't think anyone actually started rich there. I think everyone grew up in poverty and, you know, went up from there. But now Disneyland's gonna go home and start bragging about how he owns some rich assholes to his Twitter friends who act like him. Probably.